We've gotten to know Carolina pretty damn well in their last 8 years of dominance. Only Colorado has more playoff and regular season wins than the Canes since 2018, and Carolina's done this without ever having a top 10 player in the NHL on their roster. It's a gritty defensive identity and a full roster buy-in that's defined an era of success, all culminating to them sweeping back-to-back rounds of playoff hockey while sitting as the current Stanley Cup favorites, and there is no greater reason for this success than the bash line. All three of Hall, Stankoven, and Blake are top 15 in the NHL in points this playoffs, despite playing a style contradictory to everything that Carolina has built this decade. They are as game-breaking as the McKinnon line in Colorado, the Kucherov line in Tampa, or the Suzuki line in Montreal, and they're outproducing all three of those lines while playing second-line minutes. And everyone on the bash line is a smaller guy. That's important because Carolina's identity in this era has been defined through aggression and a lack of regression. To put it simply, Carolina has played a shoot and retrieve system that's based on elite conditioning and structural discipline. Offensively, their 5-man unit maximizes zone time by playing every shift like they're gonna get put down if they don't leave it all on the ice. They usually run their offense from the perimeter, chucking pucks on net and crashing relentlessly for rebounds. Without the puck, an aggressive 2-1-2 forecheck overloads a strong side, hoping to force a quick turnover. It's hard to say exactly that's a 2-1-2 because sometimes their defensemen pinch up the wall really aggressively while forwards track back. It's an aggressive overload system that tries to minimize your time and space. It creates the tightest neutral zone in hockey. It's like trying to squeeze through a checkout line in a San Antonio Walmart. You basically just have to dump it in and go around. Defensively, Carolina's got an army of mobile blue liners that give opponents zero sniffing room. They move in lockstep, and it's led by maybe the best defensive defenseman in hockey, Mr. Jacob Slavin. It's probably the biggest nightmare opponent to play against. He's got a generational defensive stick and the skating to stick with the target like an insecure boyfriend at an Indian wedding. But by 2026, Carolina's game plan is an open secret. We know that the group in Raleigh playing this style has a high floor with a lower ceiling. Damn. They create a lot of low-value shots where Carolina is praying for deflections, rebounds, and overall just bullshit goals. That's because they lack the game-breaking talent to create high-danger chances the deeper they go into the playoffs. That's why they've dominated the analytics every single year, controlled an overwhelming amount of their games for 99% of the season, but they come up short and they get exposed hard. They've had the same problem for years now. They're an elite team that dominates the first few rounds and then they get absolutely fucked when they run into a better opponent. They just haven't been able to compete against a team like Florida. They play a similar tactical identity, but with more star power and offensive talent. That means Carolina has lost 12 of their last 13 games in the conference final. Holy fuck. But Carolina is one of the smartest, most forward-thinking front offices in the sport. Since 2024, they've looked to address this problem by slowly transitioning from a dump and chase physical system to a more open rush style game. This season alone, they were second in the NHL in rush shots per game behind Colorado. And if you weren't paying attention, you'd probably miss that everyone they've targeted over the last few years has been great in transition and great on the rush. Nikolai Ehlers is the poster boy for this shift. He's one of the best skaters in the show, and he's a true one-shot finisher who can create and score a goal entirely on his own. He's in the 99th percentile this season for entries with possession, something that honestly never would have been possible on the 2021 Carolina Hurricanes. And in his first season with Carolina, it's pretty clear that he's the best pure finisher to wear a Canes jersey since Jeff Skinner back in the early 2010s. Ehlers is on a line with Aho and Jarvis, two other elite skaters, go figure. That line has been magic for Carolina this season. It's their top line and it's a matchup line. They play defensive hockey, but really they're better off the rush. So overall, Carolina's faster game, backed by their ridiculously AIDS neutral zone and forechecking, it's created a squad that currently has the best odds of winning the cup this year at over 40%. And it does feel different. Honestly, Carolina is currently first in the NHL in expected goals per 60 this playoffs at 5v5, despite playing the second and third best team defensively from the regular season. They're creating offense against teams that don't usually let you do that. And that's honestly super nails. But while this top line has built the foundation for Carolina's born-again, newfound rush identity, these guys are actually getting shut down this playoffs. Enter Taylor Hall, Logan Stankoven, and Jackson Blake, aka the Bash Line. It's the second line on Carolina, and they are absolutely dominating night in, night out. When they're on the ice at 5v5 this postseason, they've scored 9 goals and been on the ice for 1 against, while Carolina is averaging 4.63 expected goals per 60. That's absolutely fucked. There's actually never been a line in the regular season ever that is scored at that high a rate. The closest was the Oilers' top line in 2024 with McDavid, Nuge, and Hyman. This is generational offense, but it's not just an analytical thing to get fired up about. If you watch the Bash line play, every time something interesting happens for Carolina, it's because of these 3 guys. And you wouldn't believe it, but Carolina is actually getting outchanced this playoffs when the Bash line is off the ice. But when they're on the ice, they're creating more offense than any offense has ever created. So, okay, what the hell is happening here, and why are these guys so good? Well, they all have a clear role, but using an ever-evolving motion offense, these guys just know what they're doing. The chemistry is just unreal in Raleigh, but it's impossible to be effective in today's game without a high-end transition player on a line, and Taylor Hall, 16 years after going first overall, 8 years after his first MVP, is exactly what this trio needs. On the rush, this trio has been giving teams fits all playoffs, and it's from Hall's high-end speed and playmaking. This is probably the most noticeable part of the line. In the first round, Hall was 3rd in the NHL in rush shots per game behind McKinnon and Carlson. That's fucked, but you really feel this speed and game sense on Carolina's regroups. They've always prioritized a quick D-to-D, dump it in, but with Hall finding space early, they just send it to him up the wing and he gets a quick shot off. He's one of the best skaters in the game. He has a great sense for how to create with speed, and he's maybe the best player, acting as the engine of the line. Hall is so dynamic, he adds a full layer of gravity to this line, but the center, Logan Stankoven, probably has the most off-puck influence of anyone. He's just a wrecking ball down the middle of the ice despite standing at 5'8", soaking wet. He's the main finisher and shooter of the trio, and it's from his ability to find open ice and his tendency to just rip it. Stankoven's leading the NHL in goals as well as in 5v5 scoring chances per 60. That's important because it's telling you that the offense is consistent, especially since a majority of these chances have come off the forecheck and off the cycle, the tried and true Carolina game. End of the day, once Carolina's in the zone, they're still top dog at keeping possession and maximizing zone time. We saw that against Philly. Damn, nearly doubling the cycle chances and offensive zone possession. In zone, this 5'8" boozer acts like an angry guy. He drives towards his slot on every play and he finds his looks through contact. But what coaches will love with Stankoven's game is how he's always moving. Shorter guys gotta find an edge somehow in the playoffs when the space on the ice gets harder to find. Stankoven's tendency to just buzz around everywhere gives Carolina so many options. It's almost like what Gensel was supposed to be for this team a few years back. He turns the offensive possession time into golden opportunities. The spacing this line creates is actually stupid, especially against some of the best defensive teams in hockey. They always have one guy high, one center guy, and one guy low. All of this is while they're using a constant motion offense. It's a style that creates so many different looks throughout the course of a game. Hall can bring it up while both Stankoven and Blake are just lined up down the middle for a deflection. All right, but the most underrated player on the line is by far Jackson Blake, son of Jason Blake. Shout out Leafs fans, they love that guy. We're seeing more and more sons of NHLers turn into outstanding hockey players. Look no further than Josh Doan over in Buffalo, same draft 2nd round pick, and he's playing a huge role for the Sabres. When these guys figure out how to stick in the NHL, they have so much value from all the tips their damn dads are teaching them. Jackson Blake is a similar kind of player to Doan in a way that just feels unfair. This guy might be the best forechecker on the Hurricanes, a team whose identity is great forecheckers, but Blake is craftier than just about everyone else on the ice. He excels at little slip passes, at finding the perfect route, at using his hands for, a tidy little move. He's the king of the little play. So many of Carolina's scoring chances have come from a little pass early in the play or a nice one-on-one move to beat a defender. He's actually so sick at beating guys one-on-one. I don't know how he got Amadio to bite here. What did you think was going to happen? He's going to go back to his own end, but hey, quick shimmy, it just opens up so much ice. But this kid has moments of greatness where he looks like a future top liner in the NHL. He's definitely the in-zone engine of this line. His deception on these passes is absolutely insane. Blake might be a top 10 pure playmaker left in the playoffs. Add in his knack for finding the soft ice, his forechecking game, and his scoring touch down the stretch here. You're looking at a guy whose 22-year-old season feels a lot like when Braden Point broke out in the playoffs for Tampa back in 2018. So when you put Stankoven, Blake, and Hall together, you get a dynamic playmaker who creates an easy entry, a wrecking ball F2 who pushes the defenseman back, and the classic F3 who found the open ice and has the world going for him right now. That's how Carolina won it in overtime for their 8th straight win of the playoffs in overtime against Philly. Fuck you. For the last decade, Carolina's had a near-perfect machine that's lacked the oomph to get over the finish line. In 2026, it looks like the Bash line is gonna smash that trend. Thanks so much for watching. Please subscribe. Bye-bye.